Do you have tips on writing dialogue where it doesn't sound forced or even omitting dialogue?
I think the only way to do that is to watch movies and read scripts with good dialogue. Have good conversations. That's a tough one. I don't know. You just know when it's not right. For me, like some of the masters, like a Tarantino, like they approach it like a novel, I think, more like a book. I think a lot of it has to do with what's not said. If you have a clear understanding of the relationships between the characters, the dialogue comes off more naturally in between those two. So I think you have to start there. You know, if you know your characters, they start to talk to each other on their own in a weird way. That's never been an issue for me. Like my issue is I write too much dialogue. Like my first film was like, they just said, look, man, this is a 10-page scene and they're just talking. And I'm like, well, I don't know how to cut it because I love everything they're saying. And I'm like, that's what they say. He's like, well, we can cut it now. We can cut it in the editing room. And I thought, well, let's just do that. We can cut it in the editing room if it's not working. But it was a challenge, you know, for my actors to do a 6-page scene, you know, and 6 pages of dialogue because I'm someone that likes to keep the camera on them and have them go through it. I'm not going to break it up. I want them to be emotionally connected. And my stuff has a rhythm to it. So if they're not on that train, they're gonna have a hard time, you know. But my dialogue is what attracted a lot of actors to it. They always, you don't ever hear an actor say, when they say the writing's so good, they didn't have to work as hard. That means they didn't have to sell it. They just had to speak it, you know. If you ever read Titanic, the script to Titanic is really bad. It's like if you read it, and that was the only thing that didn't get nominated for an Academy Award, ironically, was the script. But when you read it, I mean, the story is there and the relationships are there. I'm just talking about the dialogue. But Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet are so skilled that when they say the lines, you just believe it. You know, I'm sorry, I don't think I'm the only one that said that about Titanic's script. And I'm not talking story structure. I'm not talking about anything. I'm just talking about the dialogue of that, you know. But if you have good enough actors, it doesn't matter. Like they can sell it. That's what they get paid for, right? But whenever I hear an actor say, yeah, I didn't have to work as hard on this one, that means that it was right there, you know. And with my dialogue, they have to pick it up fast because I'm shooting a feature in 3 weeks, you know. So you have a maximum of 5 takes, you know. Yeah.
Is that what you meant by a rhythm? Because
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you know, if I have if I have more than one camera, on a couple occasions I did, then it's great. Then I have this thing going back in this tennis match going back and forth between the characters. But in terms of tips, that's a tough one. I think just know who your characters are before you start your screenplay. And it's weird, but they start talking to each other. It's very strange, but that's been my experience. It's like, wait a minute, how the hell? Like, and I'm shocked by it every time I write a script. So that's the first thing. It's like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? And then you just start getting into a flow, and it just takes practice, right? The more you do it, the better you're going to get at it, you know. But don't give away plot in your dialogue. We don't talk like that, right? We don't talk about plot in life, you know. So that should be a first sign that the dialogue's bad.
Have you had actors on set and you realize that it's way more effective for them to say nothing and you decide in the moment to take it out?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Because I come from silent movies. I also did a short film series called The Misadventures of Cholo Chaplin, and they were silent short films, black and white silent short films, where there was no dialogue. And in my 7th feature film, there was very little dialogue. It was all the actor. So there was a lot of, that's sort of my background is now to give less and tell more between the characters through action and emotion and less through dialogue. That's kind of where I'm leading right now. And not be so in love with my words that, well, can we show that without them saying anything or saying a lot less? Yes. Always cut the fat, like cut as much as you can. You know, the simpler it is, the fuller it can be in a weird way.
Do you see that from being a beginning filmmaker all the way until now, that really a lot of it was about cutting the fat in some sense?
Yes, because my process started, when I first wrote my first screenplay, that I didn't have notes or anything. I just had an idea, right? And so I would just start. And then at the end of that process, you just have this like really fatty piece of meat. And then you realize, I don't need this, I don't need that, I don't need this. Or you repeat yourself. Now I'm a more disciplined writer in the sense that I'll write a treatment first. So I don't have as much fat once my script is done, because I already know what I'm not going to use, because I've already done notes, I've done a treatment for it, and now I'm going to script form. And that's only been the last 2 or 3 scripts that I've written, So I'm constantly learning because I didn't start from some place of filmmaking,